tell me who you are and what you do?
Yeah, not the easiest question to answer, but my name's Shane and I run Harmony House, live music venue, bar and kitchen.
Which is where we are right now.
Yeah, that's where we are right now.
Yeah.
That's kind of who I am.
What was there about the venue that made you want to take it over? Like, what makes Harmony House stand out amongst other venues?
Yeah, I mean, I guess they're sort of two separate questions in a sense. I think I don't really know how to describe that feeling of like there was something, I don't know what it was, but there was something that was like, this is good for me, like I want to be involved in this, like there's something here for me, and I think I could do this kind of thing. And some of that is just a natural arrogance I've never shed, but I'm like, I can do that.
You gotta be delusional.
Well, yeah, exactly, yeah. I'm glad you used the word delusional, thanks mate. It's
that's what I call myself, it's fine.
I don't know, I think maybe it was kind of like the style of like the venue and stuff, and the style of music that was going on and different things, and I just had a kind of, I don't know, there was just a feeling of like, I think I might be able to do this.
What would you say was something that you didn't expect when it comes to running a live music venue? Because obviously you took it on, you go, I could do this. Yeah. Getting through the process, what was something you were like, oh?
I mean, there's a lot of things to do. Obviously, with there's almost 3 different compartments in terms of the live music. There's the bar and there's the kitchen, and there's lots of
different aspects to figure out.
and I think obviously there's a lot of, when you get into stuff like that, you're immediately attracted to the exciting and the fun stuff, and that's all immediately obvious. But there's obviously a lot of kind of boring, admin-y and behind the scenes stuff and different compliance things, and even in terms of setting up and running a business like a limited company and things like, there's all these little things that you have to learn about and get your head around. So I'm still learning, I'm constantly learning and growing and finding out different things I maybe should have done better previously, and adapting those to make sure that it goes better in the future and all that kind of stuff. But I think that it's easy to look at it from the outside and be like, well, there's not that much to do, right? Like, book a band, make sure you got some beer in, like, it can't be that hard. But there's a lot of little things that go into it. The phone's always buzzing, and there's different stuff to do.
Yeah, to make it an effective business, for sure.
I mean, there's one thing to just set it up, there's another thing to actually make it function and work as a as a profitable business. So that's a whole other side of it, which I guess the difficulty with that is you sort of have to separate from your emotional investment in what you're doing, because I've always been someone that, like, I'm not really great at doing stuff I don't care about. Like, I can never really do a job that...
I'm very similar in that sense. You just can't pull yourself towards it.
No, I have to have something that lights a fire in me and makes me want to get out of bed in the morning. And but there's all that kind of stuff that's easy to fit into that box. But there's a lot of other things that aren't as exciting that are just as important, but it's a very different side of things. So I'm, like I say, I have a sort of emotional investment in the music and the people that we work with and all that kind of stuff. Beautiful. But sometimes you have to separate that from the business mind, which is the cold hard numbers and certain things that they might be nice, and you might think, well, this is a good thing to add to the culture, to add to the city. But if it constantly loses you money, you either have to change it or you have to swap it out. And so I guess as well, finding that balance of letting go of stuff that I think is nice just because I think it's nice, for stuff that is still nice and good. Like, I still want to do stuff that I feel like represents me and us as a company and what we're trying to do. But also, like I say, you've got to keep the lights on at the end of the day and all that kind of stuff. So
I mean, there are things happening almost every evening at Harmony House.
At the moment, there's a lot going on. I mean, through the week, we've got open mic nights, we do jam nights, we've got live music of all kinds of different varieties, we've got jazz, and so, on any given week we're doing 4 or 5 nights of live music and different variations and things. So
I mean, as someone who's comes to a few of them, it's always very cool. I don't see many other venues with like that kind of variety, which is very there's obviously a lot of fantastic venues around Southampton, lots of history and stuff, but obviously we're trying to add our little bit of extra stuff, do things a little bit differently, and Like, what do you look for when you're booking an act, like for a Saturday?
I mean, so it's going to depend a lot on what's happening on that week and what's happened the week before and the week after and things, because you have to be conscious of not having the same kind of, even if it's different bands and different set lists, you don't necessarily want the same sort of genre, the same vibe, the same feel week after week, and so some of it will depend on that. But Yeah, I mean, you know, I'd like to think that we're, you know, looking for and encouraging people to do different stuff, to, you know, push the envelope a little bit, to not like feel like you have to just sing all the kind of classic pub sing-along type stuff. And to be honest, I think that's kind of how the sort of program that we have of music now, that's kind of how that started. I remember we had someone playing, again, this is before I was sort of booking, I had someone playing, and he had sort of had his book of songs and he's flicking through.
That's prepared.
Didn't really look that excited about continuing his gig. And I was sort of, you know, I sort of went up to him in the break, I was like, what's going on, mate? You seem a bit down or whatever. He's like, oh, it's, you know, same songs all the time. I'm like, well, you know, you know, you don't have to. Yeah, I was sort of like, I guess until I had that conversation, I didn't realise the pressure that some people feel to fit into a certain box, to, you know, to only do these types of songs and only do these types of genres or whatever, whereas I was like, I feel like we would benefit massively from branching out and, like I say, pushing the envelope a little bit, you know, really encourage people to do original music and, you know, to do different versions of songs and do songs that maybe people won't be as familiar with and stuff. And, you know, there's always a good place and time for a crowd pleaser. The old superstitions and Ain't Nobody or whatever it is, but again, you don't want to listen to that every Friday and every Saturday, you know, so it's you know, it can be different because, you know, there's some people that already have a kind of following where, you know, we'll book them in and be like, right, that's going to be a good night, that should, you know, we should earn X amount on this night, we're expecting this many people. There's other times where you want to give an opportunity to someone that you know, maybe you feel like is going places and needs an opportunity, a venue, a space to be able to start to play around with that. Maybe it's the first time that they put a full band together because they usually play with a duo, or so I don't necessarily have a direct answer. You know, I'm not someone that looks at it and goes, right, unless you've got 5,000 monthly Spotify listeners, you can't play here, unless you've got 3,000, you know, Instagram followers. And you know, obviously there's value to all of those metrics, and I do factor some of those things in, but it's it's kind of a hard question to answer clearly because I don't really have a set exact checklist for every type of thing. And then, like I say, sometimes it's a case of, okay, well, Friday we've got this big 10-piece Motown and soul band in, so Saturday we want to do something that's quite opposed to that, so maybe it's a bit more rocky, or maybe it's a country folky sort of thing, or, you know, something that's a little bit different, because from a business perspective you're looking to capture a different audience.
Different audiences every night. But people a bit more like you and they want to get into owning a venue, what's the advice that you would want to give them?
Think about it before you get into it. Yeah, I mean, so I think unfortunately the answer to this question is a bit kind of dry, but it is the truth, and it's that you need to do a lot of planning in terms of the business side of things, the financial side of things. You need to understand, you know, how the cash flow is going to look. You need to have a plan for, you know, how it's all actually going to come together. You can't just focus on like well, yeah, we're going to book this person and this person and this person. You know, it's like I said before, there's a lot of different moving parts and there's a lot of things to look into. So it's something that I think the people that get caught out are the people that come into it a bit kind of dreamy-eyed, where it's just like, well, this is just going to be so much fun, and they're just focusing on all the hyper-positive stuff, which is obviously great. But you need a clear business plan. You need an understanding of the financial side and how that's going to look, and you know, where that money's going to come from, if you've got, you know, investors or, you know, bank loans or whatever, you know, whatever's, you know, all of that stuff needs to be clear and tidy, because I think that's what a lot of people struggle with. As much as that's not that exciting as an answer, you know, that ultimately is the difference between, you know, the venues that succeed and the venues that don't. Yeah, we can talk all we want about, you know, booking this person, that person, and authentic music and this, that, and the other, but if the numbers don't line up,
horrible, really.
The business isn't going to last. So that, you know, that seems to be that's probably the biggest thing. You know, if I could go back, that's the thing that I would change, is I would shift my focus a lot earlier to, you know, make sure I'm really keying into all of these different parts and getting my head around it and making sure that I'm aware of what's going on and looking after the business side just as much as the creative side. I think that's probably the main thing, to be honest. And then, you know, it's just a case of getting out there, meeting as many people as possible, and you know, building great relationships with different people. And you know, you can never underestimate how many different people might be able to help you out in different parts of it.
Sure.
And again, you think about expanding your list of musicians, but what about, you know, the electricians and the plumbers and the handymen? There's a lot of different people that you'll need to help you out across that along that journey at some point. So it's just worth going out and building lots of good relationships with decent people. And yeah, that would be my advice, I reckon.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not qualified to say, but it sounds like great advice.
I mean, I guess I should probably caveat with saying I'm maybe not the best person, because I'm still, you know, early days.
Yeah.
You know, there's lots of other people with decades of experience that would have their own piece of advice. But from where I'm sat currently in my position, that's the bit of advice that I would.
I think it's valuable to have that kind of information at any point in someone's like journey.
Yeah,
So-
and I imagine it's similar, you know, for the musicians as well. You know, you have to worry about the creative side, but you've also
There's
got
a
to worry
whole
about
business.
the
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me today.
Having me.
I've really enjoyed myself, and hopefully we'll see you again.
Absolutely.
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers.